In this video, we're going to be constructing a frequency distribution and then a histogram for that data. So when we first start constructing the frequency distribution, we first need to decide what are the number of intervals, or on the number of intervals that we're going to have. So there are several ways to group the data. However, because the least number here, if we look at our examples of the table at the right shows the percent of the resident population of each state and the District of Columbia who were at least 65 years old in 2012. So here, the least number is 8.5, which we can see right here, 8.5. And the greatest number is 18.2, which we come across here. It seems that 6 intervals would be appropriate. So our first interval would include the number 8 and then be open from 10. Our second interval would include the number 10 and go to 12, but not include 12, and so on and so forth. So we would then include 12 and then go to 14, but not include 14. Then we would include 14 and go to 16. So here we're counting by 2s. And by designating where the 16 is going to go, or where the 18 is going to go, like where it's going to be included, that's what's happening right here with our closed brackets. We're saying this is where the 14 is going to be included. This is where the 8 is going to be included. So the next thing that we're going to want to do, okay, is we're going to want to go through our data and put little tally marks next to those intervals. So for example, my first number is 8.5. Well, that fits in this interval. And then I would cross it off. And 14.5 fits into this interval. And 15, and 14.8, and 12.1, and 11.8. And so we're just going to go through and mark each of our points, put a tally mark in each of the intervals where that would go. So here we have a 14. So that means we want to go where the 14 is included, which is going to be here where the 14 is in the closed bracket. So we're going to put 14 there. So this is kind of the most time-consuming part, really, is putting all of our data in to our frequency distribution. So once we have all of our pieces in, the next thing that we're going to want to do, no, we're missing, where did we put that 18.2? I think that 18.2 got put in this wrong spot here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I think it just erased itself. Nope, so we're good. Okay. So this is kind of what our histogram is going to look like, except it won't be turned on its side. All right. So as we go to create this now, we're going to create, sorry about that. So we're going to create an L shape where our axis, our x-axis, is going to be the percent of population 65 and older. And since we're not really starting at 0, we're starting at 8, we'll have a little gap right there for our starting spot. And our y-axis is going to be the number of states, including the District of Columbia. And the title of our graph really is just population, because that's what we're talking about. So our intervals went from, let's see, we'll start, so from 8 to 10, from 10 to 12, 12 to 14, 14 to 16, 16 to 18, and then 18 to 20. And now we need to count how many tally marks we have here. So here we see that we have 2 tally marks, and then 4 tally marks, and then here we have 15 tally marks. Here we have 26 tally marks, 3, and then 1. So now what we're going to do is we are going to create our y values. So we have a value as low as 1, so we don't want to go too big. So maybe let's count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And we'll count up to 30 because that will give us enough room to count for 26. Okay. So in our first interval, we should have 2 tally marks. So we're going to go up to about where we think a 2 would go. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to shade that in. Then from 10 to 12, we should be up to a 4. And again, we're going to shade that one in. Notice that there's no spaces between my bars. So our next interval goes up to 15. And then our next interval goes all the way up to 26. It's a little bit too far. Let's try that again. So you want to try and make your bars the same width, just kind of as best you can. So I'll color these all in. All right, and then our next one has 3. So it should be kind of in between the 3 and the 4, or the 2 and the 4 rather. And then we'll color that one in. And then our last one has 1, so just barely. We'll color that one in. And so this is how you create a frequency distribution and a histogram from a set of data points.